There we go. Okay. So again, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'll keep checking out, and at the end we will have a Q&A section though. So if you want to wait till the end, feel free. Let's start though by utilizing that chat. Chime in and say what organization you're representing, and get some interaction going. And feel free to share links of your pages, all that good stuff. But while I say good morning, I'd also like to welcome Tammy. She's here with us too, and she got up nice and early for us. So. Tammy and myself manage Washington County Gives, and you probably already know us through some capacities through the Community Foundation. Tammy is our office manager and keeps us in line and keeps a lot of this going. She's really the cog in the wheel that keeps it all in motion nice and smoothly. And those are our emails. I'll share this slide at the end also. And once again, this is being recorded, and we'll also share these slides, which will be a nice resource for you after the fact. Now, if you go to our homepage right now, you see there's a countdown there, Give Back May 10th. And this is what you can see right now. It's, let's see, let me see if I can pull it up while we're doing it too. I'll go to that later. I'll go to the page later. That might be easier. But if you check it out right there in the top right corner, there's a prizes button. And that's where after the day of giving is done, you'll see all the prizes listed by organization. Right now, there's 2 on there. We had our early bird registration prize, and we selected one organization with volunteer staff to win, and they will receive a refund on their registration fee, and that recipient was For Oda's Sake. And then an organization with paid staff that won the early bird prize is Leadership Washington County. So those are the only 2 prizes that are posted on there for now. But this is a glimpse of what you'll see right now. And it's important to note too that this is our 10th anniversary. We're super excited to have done this for 10 years in the community, and that's a landmark that not a lot of campaigns or organizations achieve. So you'll see the logo has been amended to add the 10. There'll be lots of talk about that. Now, what you'll see through here over the 10 years is a lot of growth. The first year that we did this was in 2013. And at that time, we raised $167,425. I'm not sure how many participating organizations there were at the time, but Washington County Gives was an idea that the executive director, Brad Sell, at the time, and our board members had to get the nonprofits involved and get a little fun competition going for prizes and overall fundraising on the what we call the leaderboards. Now, you'll see there's been a pretty steady growth through the years. 2018 still has the trophy as our biggest fundraising year. And then this lovely pandemic was not too far around the corner, which did take a little bit of a dip beyond 2019 there. But you'll see the nice trend that we're heading back in the right direction. And we would also face the unique challenge in 2020 of rescheduling Washington County Gives from May to September, which was my first year. And then in 2021, we got right back on track for May, which was a unique challenge because we had these 2 giving days within the same fiscal year for us. And we were impressed that despite those challenges, despite every organization asking for a lot of help during these challenging times, they still rose to the occasion, and combined, we still had over $1 million within that fiscal year. So a little bit about how we approach Washington County Gives. Of course, that giving day is May 10th. You all have it on your calendars, I'm sure. Let me go ahead and mute Mark. Sorry about that. Okay, so during the day of giving, you're going to be at your computers, you're out and about, you're messaging, you're posting on Facebook, asking people and reminding people to donate to you. But we are going to be on the road. And the reason for that is we like to be out in the community. Maybe we're going to stop in with a nonprofit or 2 and see what they're up to on that giving day. Different landmarks throughout Washington County is kind of the goal with that. But I wanted to stress that because sometimes people, if they're having trouble with their page, their first inclination may be to pick up the phone and call us or stop by even if they're nearby. But I wanted to make sure everyone knows we're not going to be here in the office. Doesn't mean we're not going to be accessible. We'll still be checking our emails religiously and can always hop on a phone call with you from the road, but we're not going to be here. We're going to be doing various Facebook check-ins. So if you have Facebook and you're participating with that, it's a fun way to break up the day. We're also going to do random prize drawings throughout those check-ins. You'll hear talk of a lot of the prizes, which is a big incentive for a lot of these organizations to participate. I want to stress also, you do not have to be logged in and watching Facebook to win those random prizes. We may have some that, if you answer a fun trivia question on that check-in, you might win a prize. We'll determine that here soon. But you're not going to miss out if you just simply can't break up your workday, or if you're just not a Facebook person. That's okay too. We'll announce those prizes after the fact. We're still available by email, like I said. And GiveGab, you probably interacted with GiveGab or seen an email from them by now. They're our partners in Washington County Gives once again this year, and that support team is available 24 hours. They're on high alert to, asked to give quick responses throughout these 24 hours on this giving day, especially. So GiveGab, this is their logo. You may see that also as being a familiar site. And we'll talk a little bit later about their blue chat support bubble, which is something to look for. Some of you may have used that service already too, just to get registered and have any initial questions answered for you. But GiveGab is our partner, and they're a company that does these giving days with different organizations, different foundations. I've seen them work with chambers of commerce, visitors bureaus all across the country. So they do this year round, and it's nice to have their expertise on hand. Cayenne is one of our reps, and Maddie is our other rep. But there's various tech people. It's a great team that'll really get you the answers you need if we can't answer you. So a little recap kind of about Washington County Gives is too. As I mentioned, there's some first timers here. Washington County is Maryland's Giving Day. It's one day when our community comes together to support all the nonprofits. And from a marketing standpoint, that's my role here at the Community Foundation. My job is to support these nonprofits that participate, to remind our board and our donors and our usual communication flow about it. But we also take it one step farther. As we get closer to the day, you'll see a billboard, or you'll hear a radio spot, or a promoted tweet, or a Facebook post, or something like that. That's going to remind the average Washington County resident that all they have to do on May 10th is visit WashingtonCountyGives.org. They can browse the different organizations, even if they haven't met any of you or know any of these organizations. They can also still search by causes. They can type in homelessness. They can talk in community advocacy. They can talk, they can type in children welfare. Any of the causes that you have listed will help your organization be displayed. And whether you get a minimum of $10 is what we ask for each of the donations, you could get a couple $100. You just never know really who's browsing. So point being, it really benefits you just to be there and to have a presence on this day. So, be glad that you are. Again, it's the 24 hours. So it starts at midnight on May 10th and goes all the way up through midnight, 11:59, right there at the end, right before May 11th. So I wanted to point out too, that all donations must be made online on your page on WashingtonCountyGives.org to be able to register on the leaderboard. Last year, we had tried something different where we allowed different agencies to pledge, money, which is great. It's great. We want to know what the impact of that is. If a certain bank is really inspired by all the giving that you're doing for your organization, and they want to cut a check to match something, maybe, that's great. And we'd love to learn about that, to be able to report that as the overall, impact. But to be able to compete on that leaderboard, every donation, not a pledge, needs to be made right there on the website, cash in hand, credit card, etc. So I wanted to point that out in case anyone had participated in that last year, and things are a little bit more clear cut this year. Makes it easier for us and faster for us to get that check of your overall earnings back out to you. It also connects donors to those charitable causes, like I mentioned. It's going to encourage them to take action. They're going to see your page and they're going to read your story and think, wow, I never knew about the Dolman Black Heritage Museum. I never knew that the Washington County Museum had so much to offer, maybe. It's really unique to the stories we hear about people that learn about new organizations for the first time through Washington County Gives. Crowdfunding and peer-to-peer fundraising may be terms that some of you are familiar with and some maybe not. The next training we have on, I believe it's April 9th, we're going to dive into that a little bit more. So some of the peer-to-peer fundraising, in short, that's something where, maybe a board member wants to take it upon themselves to register as a peer-to-peer fundraiser. They can make their own little profile saying, hey, I'm Tim Luperspeck and I'm raising money for family health care, for example. And then that makes a little bit more fun of a fundraising experience during this day. Now, when you log into your profile right now, if you haven't done this already, you're going to see this on your initial window, where we want you to add your organization's information, some of the basics, address, website, social media links, things like that. But we also really want you to add your story. And that is just as it sounds, your mission statement. Why are you doing what you're doing in this community? Or what are you particularly raising funds for within this community? You can get as specific or as general as you want. You can add pictures, you can add testimonials, things like that. Also donation levels. We'll talk about that and we'll show some screenshots of how other organizations have done that in the past. But it makes it nice and easy to show that, $20 can buy X, Y, and Z. Can buy a stack of binders. It can buy, a box of masks, PPE, things like that. You can make it very specific so that people, when they come across your page, can say, oh, wow, my dollars can go and make a difference. Also, add a thank you message. There's a way that you can add that on there so that when someone donates, they'll get that message automatically, which thanks them initially. And we all know how important that is to thank people that give to our organizations. Add fundraisers. There's also a link on there, an optional there where you can click, and that's, again, the peer-to-peer fundraiser. So you can add Tim Luke Respect to your organization, and then they get an email being a particular fundraiser. I want to point out that's not a required part of it. You may be hearing about some of these things and you're thinking, oh gosh, what did I sign up for? I don't have the time to do all these things. And we want you to know that that's okay. But we really do encourage you just to take some time and at least add your organization's story, your logo, some photos. It really will benefit you. Now, when you log into, if you haven't done this already for your profile, and I know this does say 2020, it should say 2021, but this is an example of what you'll see if you have been a participant in previous years. If you don't have time and it makes it nice and easy, you can copy that profile over if not much has changed. You can also just copy it from the previous year and then go back in and make any updates to changes that have happened over the past year. Perfectly fine there too. And again, with all these steps, once you log in, if you're having trouble navigating, that's something that you could give us an email and we could probably point you in the right direction, or if it's more specific, that chat bubble from GiveGab can really help you find too. And as always, it's always smart to start doing this sooner rather than later so that you have time not to stress yourself out about it. You can really get in there and think about what you want to post and add to your profile. Now, the trainings, we're recording this training, and we recorded the first one we did, which was last Wednesday. GiveGab hosted that one. We're hosting this one. And the same will apply to the next series on April 6th and April 13th. I misspoke earlier. Our next one will be April 13th. GiveGab's is going to be April 6th. So you don't have to attend them all. They're all a little bit different information, but they're all being recorded. So you'll be able to see those on this page, WashingtonCountyGives.org/info/trainings, or at the top right menu corner at Washington County Gives, you can just click that, and then there's the trainings page there also. And there's also registration links there. Of course, that registration link for today's webinar will change to watch recording after the fact, but you can register right there. Wally, I always like to use you as an example. Wally's great at hitting his profile right away. I think Janice, I saw you had a great profile working already. So take the time. You can visit WashingtonCountyGives.org and look at all the other participants. Now, of course, we're not going to put anyone on blast if they haven't done anything yet, but you can certainly go and find some great examples to what other organizations are doing. You'll see right here how Wally has the different donation levels, and this has changed, I'm sure, this year, but this is a shot of what we had put on display from the past year's training presentation. All right, so let me look in the chat. We have, let's see. Okay, great. Just wanted to see really quick if we had any initial questions, which is perfectly fine, which means it must be doing okay. But go ahead and feel free to keep posting in the chat while we move on, and any questions you have. Again, we'll get to a formal Q&A towards the end, but we'll go ahead and move on here. So I want to check in with you. Speaking of, it was good timing. In the chat, take a moment. I'm going to have a couple sips of coffee here. What are your biggest challenges this year? I mean, of course, we're still feeling the ripple effects of the pandemic, but in particular this year, are you just really short on time because things are getting back to normal? The world's opening up more. Are you short on staff, volunteers? Are you struggling for some creative ideas, and are you just tired of asking your same donors for more money? Are you worried about that? Are you worried if you ask one more person with Washington County Gives on top of your normal asks? Are you concerned for that? Laura says main donor base is staff and they are still in COVID mode. Yeah, I can imagine. And last year too, that was probably a big challenge. Would you say, Laura, that it's more so? I'll go ahead, if you don't mind, I'll unmute your microphone and we could chat a bit, because this is a really good point. Here you go. Yeah, Laura, how does this year feel versus last year with that? That's a good point. Laura says that her main donor base is staff, family healthcare, and they're still in COVID mode.
Well, last year, I think we were kind of fast and furious because we were in the throes of COVID. And now, because we're a community health center, we're still seeing patients, but we're also doing testing, and now we're doing we're in treatment, and it's just a lot of juggling. I think staff are feeling pretty thin.
Yeah. So that
but
they may.
I think that's. I mean, it's okay. It's it just is what it is.
Yeah, and you may find that there's just a lack of folks willing to do any kind of fancy gives or an ask. So it may just be a simple, hey guys, if you have the time to step away and donate $10 or encourage family to donate $10.
I think staff will be willing. It's going to be hard. To be honest, it's going to be hard for me to ask. So we may need to rely significantly more on our outside donors. Yeah,
that's true too. And we'll talk a little bit about social media too, but I'm sure you guys have a decent following based on just what you offer the community on social media too. So it may just be a simple ask, asking the community to support you guys for really being heroes through some of the COVID mode experiences and give $10, things like that. And maybe it's as simple as, you showing those donors what it would really, give, the impact it would make. So, I can imagine that would be tough. So, and fingers crossed for some good prizes too, which you don't even have to ask for. So,
yes.
All right. Anyone else have any other questions or thoughts on that too? Any big challenges?
Hey, Tim.
Yep. Hey.
I use this time. We've been doing it for 10 years. So we're one of the few, I guess, been here for 10 years. One of the things I do, I actually have it on my to-do list, even as of today. This is, I track all of our email registrations, list, programs, members, everything we do. So I create a distribution list. And so besides social media, when people are trying to reach out, I understand the staff part and reaching out and asking for money, but I start now going around getting all my information on people and I will have a database of about 500 emails I personally will blind copy lists to. So start thinking now who you can send to. I realize there's always something going on in the world, and I hear that from our donors, but start now gathering information. Don't wait till that day to think of who you're going to send stuff to. And, that's just me. So I keep track of all my distribution lists, and it helps you to, who to send it to. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, that's a really great point.
We also start with our board every year. I expect all of our board members. So my chairperson, I have a volunteer chairperson for Washington County Gives. He contacts all of our boards and our development people and secures their gifts. So we know ahead of time what our major donors are doing, but then you get their buy-in, and then they go out and send it to their friends, and it kind of snowballs. So there are ways to get around certain obstacles. It's just you got to start now and not wait until May 1st to do some of that.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great feedback, Wally. And like Wally says, the museum has been doing it for all 10 years. So there's certainly a wealth of information. So that's why I like to Show Their Profile is a good example because you'll see that the content is there. He's getting the word out and utilizing his board, which we'll also talk about. Mark here from CASA, I think, right? Mark is, he says all the above: staff burnout, drastic increase and request for shelter with our displaced community here in Washington County, and with COVID limiting numbers in the shelter, so he had to use hotels, which has hit the budget pretty hard. That's a great point too. Yeah, I mean, every organization really has such a unique set of challenges, and I think the best advice is really just to rely on your volunteers and some of your board to get the word out to the public, and remember that those smaller amounts, it can be intimidating to think you have to ask for $100 or even $50, but a minimum of $10 is all it takes to make a donation on Washington County Gives. So it really helps to remind people of that, I think, because you'll see that it'll add up, in the end. Okay, let's go ahead and shift this window around. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about social media. Even more so than last year when I brought this point up, that there's a strong chance you're depending on it even more. Even as the world wasn't really quite reopening yet, you're probably interacting a lot with your clients and some of your donors and volunteers, and maybe even some of your staff virtually versus in person. And that trend continues over to social media. It's still king when it comes to affordable marketing options and getting the word out. Let's talk about some ways that you can use it. For free on our website is our free toolkit, and this is linked. So I'm going to see if this will display here. Can you guys see that page that downloads? No, let me see here. Do a new share. Up here we go. This is the downloads page on Washington County Gives, and you can get to that right here from that menu in the top right corner. And then right down here is that nonprofit toolkit. And this gives you a lot of pre-made logos, pre-made graphics, things that you can share on social media. Or, you could download this logo right here. You could add it. Some organizations add it to the signature on their email to remind people, hey, give to us on May 10th. That logo is right here. Social backgrounds. You'll see these cover photos. Of course, you don't have to use any of these, but these are something that is a nice way to remind people that you're a participant, which is the cover photo for Facebook, Twitter, or email. And when you click those options, it'll get you a nice big view. And then when you right click it, you'll have the option to save image as. And if you have any issues with any of that stuff, just let me know. I can always email it to you directly. But this is a great page where you have these resources. Right here is Zoom background. I didn't bring my green screen in today. Otherwise, I didn't have the opportunity to have this cool virtual background. But if you want to add to it, to do any video recordings, to remind your donors to donate to you, these options are here. And if you click download, you'll get to see it nice and big. That could be a cool background that you can put behind you. Things like that are right here on the website that not a lot of people realize. Social media, social share image bundle is right here. If you click download, that'll get you all these different options. You may be in some of these photo montages of some of the past presentations we made, and there's a great photo right there of the staff. Not that we need you to share pictures of us, but GiveGab makes these in advance to make it nice and easy. I personally like that one that looks out there over High Rock and shows Washington County with the sky. So that could be a nice option if you want to add that. They're pre-sized right there for a Facebook or Instagram upload. And then the Instagram story bundle, if you're an Instagram user, you can download that, and the dimensions of those are sized, are already preset, perfectly placed, that you can just add that to your story. I wonder what happens if I click download. Oh, that started downloading automatically. So if you click download, that'll download a zip file with all those files inside. There's also these nice little badges, which is kind of cool. So if you want to download these in advance and give them to some of your staff or your volunteers, you can always add that to your thank you message here on WashingtonCountyGives.org, or you can email that to people in advance. Maybe some of the people on your team maybe that are going to be donating. They could change their profile picture to that, saying that I gave, or they could make it as a post themselves, on the day of. Think how nice it would be to post that graphic saying I gave onto your Facebook feed or to any of your social media feeds and say, I gave, you can too, to this organization. Visit WashingtonCountyGives.org. There's also a GIF right here too. There's some controversy as to whether it's pronounced GIF or GIF. I still call it GIF. So you can download that also if you're familiar. Again, this may be over the head of some folks, but that's all right. You can download that option. If you know someone on your team knows how to use a GIF, they can put it into an email, you can put it on a website, various things. And of course, you'll see it says Give Back Today. So that's a functional graphic for the day of. There's also some nice printables. If you want to crank out a few of these on your office printer or your home office, it's always nice to have if you have a bigger staff. Pick them up in advance. I give because blah, blah, blah. Type that in that portion and tape it up into your lobby or something if you'd like, or in your front window. Just some options. And then there's also a thank you card, which is nice and free. There's a digital version, which you could send out to everybody. You could save that graphic, the JPEG, and email it to everyone that's donated, or you could post it at the end of your day. Thank you for supporting on our giving day. There's also a PDF and a digital version. So if you want to print something that looks nice, you can. And there's also a flyer right here too. It says join on our giving day with some nice images there. And again, that's a JPEG and a PDF. All things that are just helpful tools for you, certainly not required for you to use. I am going to switch back to my PowerPoint. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Now, Facebook events. Prior to me starting here at the Community Foundation, I certainly participated in Washington County Gives from outside the organization and with different nonprofits that I was on the boards for. And one thing I noticed is that your first inclination, you as an organization, is going to be to create a Facebook event for your giving day. But the problem I was noticing is that so many organizations were just calling their event Washington County Gives, Washington County Gives 2022, 10th annual Washington County Gives, things like that. But what happens is they all sort of blend together. So if you're going to that search tool and you're thinking, man, how do I find CASA's Washington County Gives Day? And you start typing Washington County Gives, you're going to get, 15, 20 different results, and it can be hard to distinguish. So it really benefits you just to simply add your organization's title to that event. It may feel repetitive, but if you said Dolman Black Heritage Museum's Washington County Gives Giving Day and title that as your Facebook event, it makes it stand out, and it'll really help you out, kind of stand out amongst the pack of the other events that will be out there inevitably. But I think it'll be easier for your donors to find you, to find this event, if that's something you want to create. Again, nothing that's required, but a lot of organizations do make a Facebook event for it. And I think it really does help. You can invite your friends to it. They get the calendar reminder saying, hey, that giving day is going to start soon. Now they may get that notification at 11:45 p.m. the night before, but when they wake up in the morning, they'll see it on Facebook and they'll say, oh, that's right. I RSVP'd to that and I said I was going to give. And in the event information, you can always post, your direct link to your giving page. You can post regular updates in there throughout the day. You could post in there and say, all right, guys, 3 more hours, or our power hour is coming up here soon, so don't forget to give. It's a great way to stay in touch with people that you specifically want to invite to your event. Other things you can do on Facebook that I've seen other organizations do in the past, some giveaways. I've seen a lot of people conduct their own drawings and share to social media, some nice live streams like we do here at the Community Foundation on that day. It'd be nice to go live and say, hey guys, don't forget that if you donate within this hour, we're going to pick one random person and they're going to win this gift card, stuff like that. Advanced leading up to it, Wally talked about a lot of the work that you can do leading up to it. You can post images that show the power of a donation. You can post, really anything. If you're, I know the Heritage Museum is getting, it's still warming towards some construction processes and it's still underway, you can post updates, things like that. You're reminding people that their dollars can support this project. The sky's the limit, really, when it comes to the different types of images that can really point out how meaningful these donations mean to you. Share testimonials from benefactors of your organization. You can ask a few people on your donor list, maybe, could you answer for me why you give? Why is it important for you to regularly give to this organization? You can post regular countdowns to your big day. You can utilize the scheduling too. If some of you are social media managers for your organization, you're familiar with Business Suite, Facebook's Business Suite. And what that allows you to do is to schedule posts in advance. So you could even start posting those now, really. You can schedule them for May 10th to start at midnight throughout the day, different reminders so that you can schedule it, sit back, and not even have to worry about making Facebook posts on your giving day if you're worried that you're just going to be too busy. That's something you can do plenty in advance. Of course, tell a story with your Facebook page and with your Instagram page. Any outreach you have to your community, tell those stories, and don't be shy to tug on a few heartstrings. We're all in the nonprofit world because we care about our community, and that work we do is important. And I think that you should never shy away from patting yourself on the back for that and sharing some success stories you've done and that your team's done. Give your team a nice pat on the back and say, my employees really helped us get to this point, and here's why it's important to give to us to keep them going and keep that mission going. And like I was just saying, brag it up. Really, it's our 25th year here in the community. We've been around since 1997, and as the community foundation, and that's something that you got to remind people of. It's really important to be able to share those things and say, here's what we did. We won this award. Community Foundation was just named Nonprofit of the Year at the Business Awards this year, which we're extremely proud of. And so don't be shy to share those accolades and those achievements leading up to your giving day. Put them on your profile, share those in Facebook posts. And it really does make a difference when people, remind themselves that what you're doing here in Washington County makes a difference. Videos are king, and I can't say this enough. We're all victims of scrolling through our Facebook feeds, and you see graphics posted or you see posts and you kind of forget what you're scrolling past after a while. But if you see something that's got some motion to it, it's got a little creativity to it, it's so easy to pick up your phone and just film a little clip. It doesn't have to be polished. Prop it up and say, hey guys, I'm so-and-so from this organization. Don't forget that tomorrow is Washington County Gives. Visit WashingtonCountyGives.org. Type in our organization and find us. It's a really simple way to kind of get out there. If you work with, unique visuals too, kids or animals, those are golden content. Everybody loves to see, the kids playing at Boys and Girls Club or Wheaton Park or Robert Johnson Community Center. Showing that activity and those smiling faces is wonderful. And I think the more you show that off, with permission, of course, for children especially, the more you'll connect with donors on that day and remind them. You can get some kids or some of your donors to hold up signs that say, give back May 10th. And if you just film a simple little clip, they'll feel silly. They may hate you for a day or two for putting them in front of a camera lens. But that makes a difference to put that content out there, and really helps people connect. And if you do something a little goofy, that person's probably going to share it with their friends. And the overall message is reminding them just to come back to WashingtonCountyGives.org and give to your organization. Don't shy away from using video. So how's your board? It's a question we ask a lot of people too. And the reason I ask that is, as Wally mentioned, the board members really can make a difference on your giving day. So you want to make sure that they're in the loop about a lot of these things. It's been proven through GiveGab that organizations with an engaged board raise 2 to 3 times more dollars on their giving day than those without that engagement. And we see the proof is in the pudding when it comes to that. We've done specific prizes for board involvement called our Board Blitz Prize in the past, where if you get 100% board participation to donate at least an X amount of dollars, your organization could then be put into a drawing to win a prize. And what we see with that is that there's a trend that a lot of these organizations that get 100% participation also rank a lot higher than they did in previous years when it comes to overall fundraising. And there's a few ways that you can really help connect with your board. At your next board meeting, we've got time between now and May 10th. There's about 2 months here. And you really want to ask them, does everyone here know what Washington County Gives is? Has anyone participated before? And the chances are probably yes. We've been around for 10 years doing WashingtonCountyGives.org, and a lot of boards here in Washington County have people that have been on several boards before, mixed with some of the newbies too. But there are some seasoned board of director members that are with a lot of the nonprofits. So the chances are probably high, but it's changed over time too. Do they really understand what the fund matching is? Do they know that, even just by raising a set amount of dollars, you're still going to get a little bit more added to that check based on a percentage and based on how many sponsorships and things like that and participants like yourselves we have. That number changes every once in a while, but do they understand that they're still going to get a little bit added incentive? And do they understand how these potential prize wins work? We'll have a prize sheet that'll come out to you here shortly, and it's going to list off those different prizes, the different criteria. A lot of them are the most organization that gets the most amount of donors, like number of individual donors within a set hour, or the organization that raises the most money during a set hour can win a certain prize. You'll have a chance to look at that and really plan strategically on how you want to tackle this day, and your board can help. Make sure they understand what that is. Send them the prize sheet and say, hey guys, here's what we're strategically thinking for that day. And of course, consider sharing this training with them. Hi, board members. Send this recording to them and say, hey, give a glimpse of this. Maybe they know myself or Tammy or Sarah or Stacy here at the Community Foundation. They can reach out to us for more information. And also ask them how they can help spread the word about, oops, I have the wrong day. Sorry, May 10th. That was last year's date. About how they can spread the word about the Giving Day and how can they help market those Giving Day events. Share those posts on social media. Have them set the example and be donors and share the news that they donated to that organization. Now, here's another good question that we think about every once in a while too is, volunteer organizations versus paid organization board dynamics. Should there be different expectations from you as the director, as the lead of the organization? And probably short answer, yes. I think it's no mystery that organizations with volunteers only are a lot more stretched thin. They're working before the workday or after the workday or on the weekends, or even at the workday when they're getting lunch breaks or things like that. They're answering emails, they're engaging. So yeah, I think that that's really the easiest way to answer that question. And you'll find that that's also the reason why we have two different rankings when it comes to volunteer organizations and paid organizations, why there's two different registration fees, things like that. So we want to make those prizes fair and split so that we still have an amount of volunteer-led organizations that get rewarded. A good success story we had last year was from Smithsburg Youth Athletics. It was, I think, their second year participating, but they had grown so much just by forming a plan with the volunteers they use and the parents of some of their student athletes really getting involved and spreading the word. And I think they had a little competition amongst themselves for one of their power hours that they decided to target, and they won it. They also had a lot of good luck too. I'm sure they probably played the lottery later that night, but they won a fair amount of random prizes also. So it was a really rewarding year for them to participate, and 100% volunteer led, which was really great to see. Of course, be sure to say thank you. We know how it feels to be, to be working with a staff that says thank you and they appreciate the work you're doing, but say thank you to those donors. They get the warm and fuzzies the exact same way. Consider hosting a debrief with your board after the fact to talk about how that fundraising really worked for you. Think about what could have been done better, what worked well this year, but most importantly, your board can really help thank those donors too. I've been a board member for different organizations where after Washington County Gives, there's a stack of thank you cards and they're handed out to folks saying, okay, can you sign a personal thank you and sign your name and then pop it in the mail when it's already pre-postaged, or just sending out emails is always a great option. So consider that. Don't forget it. Be sure to say thank you. So what's next? We've covered a lot of basic information, and in later trainings, we'll get into more of the nitty gritty about going in there and adding fundraisers and how some of those financials can work after the fact. You'll get a glimpse of what that donor report will look like, which you can, then retain for your future records. Helps build your database. You'll know exactly who donated to your organization. But we want you to look for an email from myself. I'm going to send it out to all participants, and certainly not required, but the couple days leading up to our giving day, I like to post little clips from organizations saying, we had some really nice ones last year from hospice, one from breast cancer awareness, Cumberland Valley, where they were saying, a donation to us means this, and can show a little bit of a visual. Maybe they're standing in front of a building or in front of a capital campaign poster, things like that. We want you to show off, and we'll post that then on our social media, which will just be a free way to share the word about your organization. So I'll send out a little simple ask about that. On all of your posts leading up to it, from now to the giving day and beyond even, be sure to use that hashtag Washington County Gives. That'll make it nice and easy for us to search, and we can share some of the posts that you've done on our Instagram stories on Facebook. GiveGab, also our partner, pays attention to that hashtag. So they'll notice on there that your organization is participating, and you get a retweet, which could help get some more donations. And of course, reach out. Tammy is a great resource, and I'll share that slide here again with our contact information, or myself. We can help answer some of those basic questions. But for some of the more technical questions, say you've gotten locked out of your account and you've waited until the day of giving and you're going, oh, I just can't remember how to get in here, and you're panicking, take a breath and use that support chat bubble. They're really there to help you, and they can do a lot of things that we can't. We can't add administrators. We can't change passwords or reset passwords. That's all through GiveGab for privacy protection. So that information is all there kind of at your fingertips with that little blue support chat bubble, and that's a picture of how it looks. We also want to let you know too, where's the money? When your day's wrapped up, you're going to be antsy to get those donations, and we'll let you know that for sure we'll get them out to you at the latest by late June. Historically, we're a little bit earlier on that, and the reason we need more time for that is that GiveGab deposits these overall funds into our account, and then Stacy looks back at the numbers, and we get the prizes attached to your check, and we get the fund matching calculated and attached to your check. It just does take a little bit more time, and there's only 4 of us here at the office. So when the time comes, you'll be asked if you prefer to get it via mail, or if you want to pick it up and get a check presentation photo. It's always nice to have those moments, because we sometimes get to meet the people behind the organization for the first time, and we get a picture, and of course we'll post it on our socials, and it's always good marketing too. But there's some options there. But we do ask that once you get it, you cash it within 2 weeks would be best, just so we can get it off our books and we get it to you, and we know the impact is being made. And this is a snapshot, kind of a general representation of what you'll see when you get that. When your giving day is done, you'll be able to see your report. You'll be able to look at that particular day. You can look at search fields. You can search by name, by email, all that great stuff that'll show you. Because of course your board, your accountant is going to want to know those particulars, and it'll behoove you to hold on to that information also, just to keep building your database. We will let you know too that some donors do request to be anonymous, but there is some information that maybe you just won't be able to get. It's rare, but it does happen. Some people just take the extra steps to click that. So be forewarned that sometimes there's not information we can fully give. But generally, the report is your best viewpoint. Also, we want to let you know, Ryan's picture. I had Ryan Smetzer's picture was here. It was a great one too. But Tuesday, May 3rd, mark that calendar. We're going to have an in-person kickoff event. We're going to get some more details out to you here next month. Ryan Smetzer is going to join us. And we really, really want you to get at least one person from your organization out here, because there's a slew of prizes that you could win just by being there, in attendance. There's music. There's going to be some light refreshments, some coffee, a way to perk you up in the morning. So please join us. We'll send out location details and some more particulars here very soon. So look for that email, and then we'll open up registration here early next month so that you can start getting registered for that. And the idea of that is just to get you excited, get us together. It's going to be a nice safe space that, if you're feeling like you need a distance still, you certainly can. But we want to get you out there and get you invigorated, because then these next 7 days is when you're really going to want to ramp up getting your profile completed, getting the word out there, getting your post scheduled, getting your emails out there, and getting your board really connected. Now, if you're an organization that can't step away, please know that you can send a volunteer, a board member, somebody else to this kickoff event for you. As long as they're registered to represent your organization, you're there. They'll be able to, intercept any prizes you may win. And we want to give a quick thank you to the sponsors that we have locked in so far. ACNT is always a great sponsor of this event. The John R. Hershey and Anna L. Hershey Family Foundation, Volvo, God's Grace Fund, Matthias Trust, the Nora Roberts Foundation, Hamilton Family Foundation, and Younger Auto Group. And as I mentioned, the prize sheet is coming soon. You'll have a chance to look at it and strategize and really think about some of the prizes you might want to tackle. And it may also, kind of awaken a couple questions you might have too. So that'll be a good chance to let you plan for how you're going to attack the day. So I'll open it up to questions. I see we have a chat here. How do we see prior leaderboards? That's a good question. I know you can log in, Laura, and you can see your past donation success and your past donation reports. But I may just have to dig back through our records, and I can share with you some of the top 10s from past years if you're curious in particular. I'm not sure if they're housed on the website anymore. I don't think so, but I can always share that with you if you would like. Yep. Mm-hmm.
More than anything, I don't think we're interested as much in the leaderboards as
Okay.
prior organizations who participated, to be sure we're not overstepping our asking.
Oh, I see.
We don't want to
Yeah.
ask Cedar Ridge if Cedar Ridge is in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, right now you can see who's participating right now. That's available if you go to WashingtonCountyGives.org, and you can
Right.
browse the current the participants for this year. Is that helpful, or are you talking about like 2021? Yeah, so you can check those out right now. But if you need information from past years, feel free to shoot me a message. We definitely have those registration sheets. We can remind you of other organizations that have participated in the past, certainly. How's everybody else feeling? Any other questions? What questions do we have? I'm sure we have a few. Feel free to chime in the chat, or you could unmute yourself. That's all right. We have a smaller group this morning. Okay, great. Yeah, Mark's interested in looking at some of the past pages too. Sure. Yeah, especially for some of the first-time participants that are, maybe with an organization that's participated in the past, and it's your first time, you're probably curious about some of the successes your organization has had in the past. And we can only share some of the information with that administrator of that organization that's registered as such. But certainly we can help you get some past info. It helps to get a little history maybe. And again, too, I'll hang tight for a bit more, but here are, if you don't already have them, is my email and Tammy's. Okay, well, I think that may be all the questions we have, but again, visit our trainings page. Oh, I see here. Thanks, Mark. What about sending out info on some of the Facebook community pages? Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea too. There's several groups, there's like the Hagerstown yard sale, what's happening in Washington County, things like that. There's probably a few nonprofit support groups also. That's a great idea. And I can certainly, as an individual, help share, the word in those groups about Washington County Gives as a whole. So thanks for that reminder to do that myself. But yeah, absolutely. We encourage folks to share that information. If you're not familiar, actually, I know Janice and I were just chatting about one of these groups because one of the funds that is set up through the Dolman Black Heritage Museum, named after her father, Robert, was getting some comments from people that remembered him fondly. So there's so many groups where people are really engaged, particularly now with what's happening in Washington County, and they may really favor the reminder to give to your organization on May 10th. So that's a great idea. Okay, well, we want to say thank you so much. And we're here for you. It's going to be a really successful year, I think. I'm feeling really hopeful. We have a higher number of participants. We had one addition that we fixed. I think it's 91 organizations total right now. So it's great. Last year we had about 87. And so we are excited to keep going on that positive trajectory. And certainly look for those emails and registration information coming up soon about our kickoff event, May 3rd, the week before our big May 10th Giving Day. And in the meantime, reach out with any questions you have. We're here for you, and start working on those profiles if you haven't already. Everyone have a great day. Thank you so much. I'll stop sharing my screen and see your guys' faces again. Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome, Janice. Thank you.